A couple of days ago, a friend of mine sent me a link to a YouTube video. It was by someone called Henna Marie, who was talking about truth. After observing what has been going on around the globe over the last couple of months due to coronavirus, and given that the things that she was saying in the video resonates with me, I thought that it was appropriate that I share it with you. Some of you may not like the message, some may truly appreciate it, particularly if you value personal freedom. What I see happening in the world recently is a steady erosion of personal freedom and the building of a culture of fear. I mentioned in a previous video about one of the biggest problems related to COVID-19 was fear, and that it was all out of proportion to the risk. This culture of fear pushed by the media has enabled governments around the world to trample on personal freedoms under the guise of saving lives. And the population in general have supported these suppressions of personal freedom. During lockdown here in New Zealand, people over 70 were not supposed to leave their homes, and so they were all shuttered up in their homes, fearful that the virus would get them. At no time did you hear any of the experts telling everyone to take personal responsibility for their health and do everything that they could to build up their own natural immunity, like getting out in the fresh air, getting plenty of sunshine, stop eating processed foods, and take appropriate supplements. Instead, all we hear about is that everyone is rushing to produce a vaccine for COVID-19 and that will save us all. It is as if many people think that their own personal health is the responsibility of the state. The reality is that a vaccine or pharmaceutical pill is not going to make you healthy, so there's no point in waiting for it. You have to take responsibility for your own health. There is nothing more effective to control a population than an unseen virus that may kill you. It certainly worked here in New Zealand. To help put this into perspective, consider this. As of today, New Zealand had 1,499 cases of COVID-19, 21 deaths, and 1,433 have recovered, leaving 49 still infected with no one in hospital. That is out of a population of just under 5 million. Over 200,000 tests were carried out to find the 1,500 odd people who were affected. Virtually all the deaths were for patients in rest homes, one of which accounted for 10 deaths from the dementia wing. These were all put down to COVID-19, even though other factors may have accelerated the deaths. I know of one case of a dementia patient amongst the 10 deaths in the rest home that became very anxious when his family stopped visiting him because they were not allowed to see him. He couldn't understand why, and it seemed like his family had abandoned him. They had to medicate him to calm him down, and he died a week later without his loved ones around him. Now, did he die of COVID-19 or did he die with it? I'm sure that this scenario has been repeated thousands of times around the world. Now, if you add to this using New Zealand as an example, we now have the highest unemployment rate since the Great Depression. This in turn triggers off depression, mental illness, crime and violence. In addition, lives have been lost through people being unable to access medical care because even though the hospitals and doctors and clinics have been largely empty, patients could not get medical care due to the restrictions. But according to the politicians, their policies have been a resounding success and they have saved lives. As I said, not once has any of the authorities encouraged the population to take any responsibility for their own health. Anyway, that is enough from me today. Have a look for a couple of minutes at what Henna Marie has to say. And if you're a thinking person, click on the link below and watch your entire video.
That truth is a prerequisite for freedom.
I'd love to hear what you think about the importance of taking personal responsibility and not expecting the state to take care of it for you. Oh, I should mention that I'm not an anti-vax zealot. There is a place for selective vaccines such as polio and measles and some others, but there has to be a conclusive need for them and should be a matter of personal choice. Talk again later.